Hello and welcome to episode 532 of the Daily Sales Message podcast, where every single day I share a piece of simple and actionable advice that's designed to help you feel more confident and sell more stuff too. Now, in today's episode, we're talking about something that your buyer might not actually say to you, but they're probably thinking, and you've definitely thought to yourself, and it's, well, this sounds great, but that's not going to happen to me. I'll be fine. I won't crash my car. There won't be a fire at my house. This won't happen. That won't happen. I'll be fine. And you don't buy something based on the notion of it won't happen to me, it happens to other people, which is kind of a false assumption. It's a false assumption. And as a seller, if you're faced with a buyer saying, well, this is great, but that's not going to happen to me, it can pretty much stop you in your tracks. So you need to think about how you can make this notion real for your buyer and how you make them realize that actually it could happen to you. And the people that it happens to probably also thought, this will never happen to me, and it did. So you need to get together facts and figures and probabilities and an understanding of what leads to the problem happening that your offering helps to prevent or helps to solve. How do I know if I'm on the path heading towards disaster? So for a health related thing, if I drink 1,000 Diet Cokes a day and I never go for a walk or anything like that, I'm on the road to disaster in terms of my health and in terms of looking after my teeth and things like that. So how do you signpost the road to disaster? Road to Disaster sounds like a great name for like a book, doesn't it? How do you signpost the road to disaster for them so they can identify, say, hang on a minute, I thought it wouldn't happen to you. Actually, everything I'm doing is leading me to that point. I need to be very, very careful here. So there's a road to disaster, and there's also trigger points. So before things go wrong, other things kind of happen. So before things go wrong, other trigger points and things happen. What does that look like? And I suppose these are like signposts on the road to disaster, as it were. What does that look like? So then I can understand, oh, hang on a minute. Did you say blah, blah? I've done blah, blah. Well, then you're more likely to be affected by the issue. Really? I didn't know that. I didn't think that was going to happen to me because blah, blah. Well, there you go. You're kind of on the road to disaster there. Be careful. Here's how we can help you. There we go. So, to wrap this up, slightly more abstract episode of the podcast today. I do admit I like to keep things as practical as possible. But think about the problem that you solve for your buyer. What does that road to disaster look like? So how do they know that they're on their way towards disaster, but they're probably dismissing it and just saying to you, it doesn't happen to me, it won't happen to me, it happens to somebody else. It's up to us to educate our buyer. Always the burden of proof lies with us. Right, that's it for this episode of the podcast. Tomorrow in episode 533, we're talking about a usage list. A usage list. I'll explain more tomorrow. You'll have definitely seen this done before. Maybe you've just not heard it called that before, but you've definitely seen this done before. So I'll explain more then. In the meantime, thank you for your time and attention, for listening or watching all the way to the end. I do appreciate it. I'll catch you tomorrow for hopefully a more practical edition of the Daily Sales Message.